funny story to tell you. So once, I asked my friend to send me some crypto. I gave him my public key from my wallet, and guess what? I did not receive that damn ether after all. I made a mistake while copying that public key. Very painful mistake. But then I thought, this is very stupid and there should be some kind of solution for it. And guess what? There was. You could get a human-readable web3 domain and use it all the time as a public key address instead of copy-pasting your public key to friends or trying to memorize that long-digit code or long-digit address. So I made one. Web3august.wallet. Never have I ever made a stupid typo mistake again. But being a web geek that I am, I realized that this is about way more than removing common typing errors in blockchain space. It could be the start of creating my own identity in Web3. Since it's a lot to talk about, let's start by exploring what digital identity is today and how its biggest pitfalls create unique opportunities for all of us. You would probably agree that we basically live a good portion of our lives online. We work, we play, we book, we game, we talk, we bank, we look at things and scroll content every day. Most of these actions are tracked by big technology companies which monetize our data inputs just because, well, they can. And because nothing is really free anymore. So, if we admit that our likes, comments, purchases, and posts are actually a part of our digital identity, then is it acceptable that we don't really own it? Instead, these bits and pieces of scattered data are owned by companies. Each of them holds a great amount of our personal data, from emails and passwords to birthdays and even personal codes. The scattered data collection process results in account and password chaos. All of us deal with it in different ways. We either risk our security by using the same old memorable passwords on all platforms, or employ a password manager in the best case. Eventually, the internet became a scattered and very centralized space, owned just by a few. Sad news, because with a lot of power in the same hands, innovation usually stifles. And this is a problem that has been brewing for a while. The way to solve all of these problems would be to gradually move on to the modern identities of Web3, which are based on blockchain technology and are essentially decentralized. There, nobody holds user data, except the users themselves. In the future, digital identity could entail ownership and interoperability principles as a default, with the help of groundbreaking blockchain and smart contract technologies. But what does this really mean? Well, first of all, in Web3, you would no longer need to hand out your personal data to every online service you use. Instead, you could have a single login and have a portable digital identity. Meaning, if you don't like a platform, you could just simply take your Web3 identity with all your digital breadcrumbs and move it to another space. Now imagine, what does this do to competition among platforms? The way I see it is that portable and interoperable Web3 identities could actually help to separate truly valuable services from the ones which only try to extract and benefit from our user data. This could basically stir up a massive competitiveness among platforms, right? Which in effect would boost the level of innovation we could all enjoy. Sounds good. Actually, I think this has already started. There are all kinds of services where you can already use a Web3 identity, where all data remains controllable to you and unrevealed to the service provider. OpenSea, IPFS, Brave Browser, to name a few. The popular services, which provide different ways to create your Web3 identity, are Unstoppable Domains, ENS, Web3Auth, and others. All of them offer different ways to create and manage your Web3 identity. And we'll explore more how it works with an unstoppable domain, because frankly, it's the one I find easiest to use. The idea of owning your digital identity is fascinating. It's still pretty new, because who would have thought about buying a digital picture or some other digital asset 5 years ago, just to own it? Well, a few people did, and now it's not just a trend, but an ever-evolving ecosystem of digital goods and services. If you think about how many digital goods we buy each year, like in-game assets, courses, books, tickets, domains, or crypto tokens, and NFT, it would be pretty useful to track all of them under one digital identity, right? This is where blockchain technology and smart contracts will show their power, and will help to fill the decentralized internet with identities of But there are a few more things I want to talk to you about when it comes to the identities of Web3. If you are aware of the latest trend of buying expensive NFTs and using them as profile pictures on social media, you can think now, what does that do to your digital identity long term? In the eyes of others, do you fully agree with the values and message this NFT represents? You may not be able to control this narrative, because many of the NFTs are essentially owned by private companies, which may change their strategies about their NFTs. Or they're owned by community members, which you don't know at all and could not imagine how they shape the collective digital identity. To build upon this idea, what if you own a bunch of other NFTs and don't want to tie your online image to one project? Where I'm going with this is that you probably don't want to be just a Bored Ape Online or a CryptoPunk. You are you. You are more than your NFT, especially if you think long term. Your online Web3 identity could be a way to establish and maintain your reputation. And sometimes you may want to reveal who you are besides your NFTs, right? So Web3 identity could transform into something that encompasses all our digital records. They would be kept and selectively displayed to our followers. Actually, they could contain many aspects of our digital life. A lot of this data could be recorded using tokens and smart contracts. A Web3 identity could be a much more controlled way to establish our digital identities and avoid data scattering. A humanity check could also become a new trend for those who wish to blend their digital selves with the real life ones and establish a solid reputation. In my humble opinion, the best part of it is that this reputation would never be lost. If you move to another platform, depending on its features, your Web3 identity services could ensure that you don't lose your following or have to rebuild it all again. This is possible with NFT domains, and I'll tell you more about it later in this course. So what is identity on Web3? In a nutshell, it's about creating a safer and user-focused web rather than leaving all of our data to private companies. Web3 identities will return ownership of our data and puts us in charge of our identities once again. And they will most likely push private companies to build much more valuable services than we have today and remove data extraction features, which would be really nice, right? If you are a web user like me, Web3 identity should be something exciting. I mean, finally, one login for the vast multiverse of Web3. So, if you want to explore more what it means in practice, continue with this course. A lot is still yet to come.